What's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. And today we'll be taking a peek over here at the Bitcoin price chart and the altcoin market chart, like we typically do. As we discussed just 2 days ago, the market has pulled back with the total market cap of crypto and the total altcoin market cap pulling back down to the height of where the top came in from back in May earlier this year. And we've just been kind of sitting at this price level really for the last 3 days when looking over here at the total market cap and like we were just looking at the total altcoin market cap. And as usual, Bitcoin's usually the dictator of when these big types of moves do end up coming. Now, one of the things that we've done on this channel is talked about the Elliott waves here on the total market cap of crypto and the total altcoin market cap. And what we could see happen back in May was our ABC correction. And then as you could see, as we have started this new march upwards, that we have had wave 1 with an ABC correction coming down to the height of wave B, now working on wave 3. And well, as you can see, we have now pulled back down here to the height of wave 1. Now are we heading on into 5? So that's going to be my mindset heading into the future, right? And that's nothing new. Even during May, June, and July, my expectations for the total market cap of crypto were that we were following something we've seen happen several times here in the cryptocurrency market with the rally prior to capitulation leading to a 4.236 extension, big hard knockback, breaking back up to the top, back testing, and then goes on for the big final push, which in essence would be wave 5 of wave 5. And that we've already had waves 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and now working on wave 5. So trying to count the final waves within the final wave. So looking at this closely over here on the total altcoin market cap, excluding Bitcoin, just looking at the altcoin market, the big question, of course, is so if we have wave 1, 2, 3, is this really actually wave 4 going off into wave 5, or is this a corrective wave still within wave 3 and wave 3 has to keep pushing up higher? And so I take a look at things a little bit closer, whether it's right or wrong. I'll show you what I'm looking at in here is that I do see that we had an ABC correction in here. The fact that it also pulled back down to the height of wave B in this correction, I could solidify with near complete confidence that this was wave 2 due to the fact that we had an clear ABC correction within it, pulling back down to the height of wave B. I think any Elliott wave person would agree that this was wave 1 and this was wave 2. We exceeded the height of wave B for wave 1, and then wave 2 came down to the height of wave B. I think we can all agree on that. The big question is for 3, 4, and 5, right? Are we already completing wave 4, heading off into wave 5, or is this a corrective wave within wave 3, and there still is more to go on wave 3, and then 4 is going to come later, and then 5 is going to come after that? So my thought process is, all right, so let's take a look at this. If this is wave 3, can we find anything in here to confirm that this is the completion of wave 3? So I go back and look at this and say, well, here's an ABC correction that comes in for wave 2. To look for wave 1 within wave 3, I need to see wave 1 exceed the height of wave B. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These all affirm the Elliott wave rules. We did get above the height of wave B, then have an ABC correction. Then we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we have a correction, and then we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So essentially what we end up having here is a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and a wave 5. And I would say that is likely good enough to say that was wave 3. We're now wrapping up an ABC correction in here for wave 4, coming back down to the height of wave 1 over here. And so we'll take all of that off the screen again, and we'll look at that a little bit closer to see we're coming back down to the height of wave 1. That I still feel really good that this thing is going to march its way back up, but that it's massively on my radar that was probably wave 4, and we're heading into wave 5 now. Now, I'll shoot it straight with you on my confidence level on all of it. I'm incredibly confident that this is wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're working on wave 5. This is the final wave of the cryptocurrency bull run. I feel incredibly confident on that. I feel incredibly confident coming in here on this wave within wave 5 right here and saying that this is wave 2 and wave 2 is completed. Confidence level here on wave 3 and 4 and 5 is wishy-washy right now. Because what could be argued in here, and I think would be fair to argue within here, is that this is actually wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5 of wave 3, and there still is going to be some big pullback wave 4 and going into wave 5. I think from an Elliott wave count, that's a reasonable argument as well. Still, overwhelming confidence that we're in wave 5 of the cryptocurrency bull run, the final wave of this market. But when we take the big wave 5 and break it down, and then you have to break it down again, because in every wave there are subwaves, and then there's subwaves of those waves. And you have to become a very expert Elliott wave counter to pinpoint these things live while they're actually happening. Usually it's one of these things we can go back and look in hindsight and kind of figure it out pretty easily after everything has already played out. But catching it all live while it's actually happening is quite a different task. But if there's such a disagreement, at least within my own mind, on which one is it right now, well, all the scenarios I draw from, regardless of which subwave it's in or whatever, all of it still points back to I feel pretty good that this level is going to hold for the total altcoin market cap at this point. There's a lot of fear out there right now, but all signs point to this level should hold. I think in the Bitcoin community, this has kind of caught a lot of people by surprise because Bitcoin has set 2 new all-time highs here since it's gotten back up here, but both times it's gotten rejected from the all-time high. So a lot of focus is now back down in here again, right? In which people are saying, look, we need to be holding this level right here at 53,000. And I can see that as well, because if you want that level to hold, then you're hoping that you still have a wave 5 that comes in here, getting you a little bit higher. But in the circumstance of pulling back down in here, for an Elliott wave count, you've completed wave 4 within wave 5 of the Bitcoin bull run. Also, let's talk about something else really quick when it comes to the inverse price chart of Bitcoin right here and when it comes to the total market cap. Because I keep expressing my thoughts that I believe there's still a really big push that's going to come in the altcoin market, especially for a lot of the altcoins that have been lagging behind. At least that's the way I'm placing my bets in this market at this point, is that everything that's already gone into these big massive bubbles, they're of zero interest to me. My main focus is seeing what has happened historically in the cryptocurrency market, that as the top of Bitcoin comes in, altcoin market goes crazy, and it's the laggards, the ones that haven't taken off, that end up putting on these show-stopping events at the end of a Bitcoin bull run, the end of a cryptocurrency bull run. Now, I referenced to this chart many times during May, June, and July, providing that confidence and that assurance that I thought Bitcoin would hold the price level as it pulled back. So as Bitcoin was pulling up here on this inverse price chart, we can look over here and we can see this is when the price of Bitcoin was going down. Then as it reversed from here and started heading down on this chart, we can look on the right and see the price of Bitcoin kept going up. So my expectations during the entire time of May, June, and July were that we were following what I've seen many times in a crashing structure, but when we were just flipping it upside down and looking at Bitcoin from the inverse perspective, and that it was going to hold here at wave 4 within wave 5 to create our 6th wave, and we would go on and have our final one. Now, Bitcoin has already taken out this level, right? So at this point, it has done that. Now, let's say that Bitcoin does pull back to that $53,000 price level, the area that I have highlighted right here in yellow. That would be a little bit different for this structure. It would be unusual for us to go down there, to break this level down, and then head back in here and then go on and break it again. That would just be odd to me. If Bitcoin still has another push up, another leg up left in it, I would think Bitcoin's going to hold where it's at right now. It's going to hold in these $58,000 that it's in right now, these 59,000s, and it's not going to break down there to the 53s. If it broke down there to the 53s, I wouldn't be able to say with any reasonable conviction that Bitcoin's going to go off and break into new all-time highs at this point. It would have already completed everything that I was looking for over here. In that, wave 4 within wave 5 held for wave 6, and then we went on and we broke into a new low down in here, which was a new high for the Bitcoin price, hitting $69,000. I don't really have any references to go back to and say, yeah, it goes on and it sets the new low, and then it goes back and it comes way back up in here, and then it goes way back down again. I wouldn't have any reasonable confidence to say Bitcoin's going to go back and set a new all-time high again if that happened, if Bitcoin went to 53,000. So while it technically from the Elliott wave perspective would be holding on top of wave 1 for wave 4, I wouldn't be holding a ton of confidence over here on the blockchain backer channel that Bitcoin is going to go off and set new all-time highs after that if it did break down there to those 53s. And not only that, if it went below 53, right? Let's say it went down in here and it got down into the 48s. Boom, you've then crushed all the Elliott waves at this point at that point. And by that time it's just too late, right? We've already hit 69,000. We've already pulled all the way back down to 48,000 and now it's become very apparent and very clear Elliott waves are even broken over here on Bitcoin. And if we get all that off the screen, and if you say, okay, well, then if that means that if Bitcoin does start breaking down and doing something like this right back down into here, well, what ends up happening, right? You end up having your ABC retrace. But what do we know that happens in the cryptocurrency market? We know that when the top of Bitcoin comes in, historically, the altcoin market will take off into that retrace or take off into that double top. And we have the big explosive move for the altcoin market right there at the very end. So if Bitcoin does actually break down from these levels that it's at right in here, I actually view that to be more likely that you're going to see something like that and that the Bitcoin price chart's already broken at this point. So which one do I favor right now? Well, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not investment advice, but I will show you what I think. I think Bitcoin's actually going to hold the prices that it's at right now. Because if it doesn't, there's a world of pain coming for Bitcoin most likely, especially if it doesn't hold 53,000. But I think that Bitcoin probably will hold this price level because I believe the total market cap of crypto is telling us that it is, and the altcoin market is telling us that it is, due to those price charts and those market cap charts saying they've pulled back down to the support levels. And I talk about that all the time. Like when everybody wants me to cover XRP all the time, but I have to look around at the rest of the market to try to find the confluences within the market. And right now, while the Bitcoin price chart isn't being entirely clear, I have to go lean on what those altcoin market cap charts are doing, and those altcoin market caps have pulled back down to support levels. And I'm going to lean on those telling the story of the market. So I do believe Bitcoin will hold these price levels right in here. And if I had to guess what I think the most likely play out for Bitcoin would be, it would be some type of return back up here and then just a couple of waves up in here before then Bitcoin does actually end up falling down. But right now, after we have this dramatic price action, after we have a big ABC correction show up in here, especially over here on the total market cap, a lot of people get real worried at these price points. But as you could see, this is what happens when things get pushed a little far. So that's where I'm leaning at right now. I didn't put out a video yesterday because we were just sitting down here at these lows. And so I figured, well, let's just dive into what I'm really thinking right in here. Well, we're still sitting at these lows and there's not a whole lot to talk about. But we could talk about what my broader perspective of the market is at this point. Due to these market cap charts sitting down at these support levels and them already doing these ABC corrections in here, I do believe we'll see Bitcoin hold the price level that it's at right now. But if for some reason Bitcoin doesn't hold these price levels, and if Bitcoin does pull back to those 53s, and then if it breaks through 53 and starts going even a little bit lower, this thing has been completed. It has done what we talked about all of May, June, and July. Held wave 4 within wave 5, created wave 6, went on and broke down into a new low, which was a new high on the regular price chart. This is the inverse chart. And if we start pulling back up in here, it's going to indicate this is all completed. So my best guess is Bitcoin will hold these price levels. Bitcoin will go on to set a new high. That will be the end of the Bitcoin bull run. If Bitcoin were to some reason fall back down to these prices right in here, that would indicate to me that the end of the bull run is likely already in effect. The only saving grace I think Bitcoin would have left in it is for it to hold this $53,000 price level. If the $53,000 price level got taken out, I'm telling you, if it went down to 52,000 or if it went down to 51,000, I believe that would indicate the Bitcoin bull run is already over. However, in this circumstance, this is something that I have been drawing out that if we pull back down in here, the thing I'll be looking for is for the retracements that come in here for Bitcoin, in which we'd be looking for the ABC retracements, looking for the 702 Fibonacci retracements as well. I drew it a little bit high. We'll do myself a favor. There we go. And that's where I'll be looking for all of the last altcoins to take off. If we saw some dramatic move like that for Bitcoin come out and Bitcoin push down there to like $42,000, $43,000, we go into the retracement, and then a lot of those altcoins still just haven't done anything, right? Some stuff's taken off, but some stuff's not. I get asked all the time, what are you going to do about the ones that don't take off, right? That's where I'm going to have to really kind of make those decisions on, is nothing going to happen to them? In this market, I've played this as a rotation for me. All of my things that went up really high, I rotated 65% out of them, moved them into things that were still really low. So what happens if those things don't ever take off and go? Well, that's going to be the time period where I'm having to make that assessment. But we're not there yet. And the history shows in this market that after Bitcoin has already topped, there's still this exciting phase coming for the altcoin market. We have to get into that exciting phase for me to decide whether something like that is a reasonable assessment to make. But I could tell you right now, and while I'm coming on here, my tone may sound very serious. I'm very excited for the altcoin market. I'm very excited for a lot of the things that are still behind, the things that are still below the all-time high. That's where all my excitement is because I do math. I've checked percentages. I'm like, okay, if these things take off, they're going to be super exciting. I think, the general public is all hooting and hollering, praying to get 50% out of Bitcoin. That does not excite me in the least bit. The things that excite me are the big percentages, the big multipliers. So I'm focusing a lot of my attention on what is going to be the thing that's going to provide the big multipliers. Even if Ethereum, say, goes to $10,000, right? Is that a big multiplier? No, it's not. So it's not of interest to me. But, going through the 2017 bull run, being through those alt seasons and watching how this market all played out there at the end, when the euphoria dies off for Bitcoin and the excitement shifts way over to the altcoin market, it is truly a spectacular event. And things like we just saw happen with Shiba Inu and Elon Coin and all these different things where they take off and they go, 1,000, 2,000% in a matter of 3 weeks. That happened left and right after Bitcoin had already topped in 2017. So regardless of what Bitcoin does in here, trying to kind of figure out at what point do I have to say to myself, all right, we're reaching that moment where something should have happened at this point for those altcoins that are still low, right? Right now, I think for me, the most likely scenario is that Bitcoin will be holding these price levels right in here. Bitcoin will go on and set some new highs in here. And then things start to fall apart for Bitcoin. Then that's when I have to start looking at, all right, now it's time to start monitoring these retracements. And it's time to start saying, all right, at what point do I have to really kind of start cutting things, right? But if Bitcoin doesn't make that new all-time high and Bitcoin does break down here and gets to 53,000, and if it doesn't hold 53,000, then the time period comes in right in here. So whatever ends up happening to Bitcoin doesn't really matter. I kind of have my plan for whatever scenario ends up coming out. But I do think it's more likely that Bitcoin is likely going to hold these price levels, likely going to come up here, put a couple of waves in, and then the fall ends up coming because of what we see happening over here on the altcoin market caps. That it seems like this is a supportive level, so I'm going to suspect Bitcoin's going to hold it too. But I think the truly exciting thing that's going to be coming in this market is going to be way more focused on the altcoins. And you guys know where I've done a lot of my rotating into. A lot of my rotating, it's all XRP, Bitcoin Cash, Zcash Dash, EOS, Ethereum Classic. Those have all been my rotation plays. Those are all the ones that I do the mathematics on and do the percentages on and say those have the biggest opportunity. Those are the ones I'm taking the shot on. Do your own research. That's what I'm taking my shot on. And I think we'll see a lot of what we've seen in previous market cycles, that a lot of things will top out early. In 2017, even before Bitcoin topped, a lot of coins topped first and a lot of money rotated out of those coins into other places. So regardless of how high the total altcoin market cap ends up going, what we may see and what we've seen previously is that a lot of the stuff that's already in the top 10, the top 15, the stuff that's already gone into these massive bubbles, that money will just bleed out and shift and rotate into other aspects of the market, and stuff further down the list moves its way up into the list. So regardless of how much money is added into the market, there's still also this rotational force that takes place at the same time. And so for me, this late into the bull run, being worried about the things that are already super high and trying to get 50, 75%, 100% more on those is of zero interest to me. I've had plenty of assets that have done the 1,000, 2,000, 3,000% runs. It's getting out of those for me. It's getting into the ones that haven't done it yet and hoping that I can get that same type of thing to occur on those again and not focus on the stuff that is 50%, 75%, 100%. And that's the moment that I'm looking for to come in this market. And that typically comes after the Bitcoin top is already in. So it's still just a waiting game. But based on what I'm seeing in the total market cap, based on what I'm seeing in the altcoin market cap, I suspect Bitcoin will hold this level. It seems the most likely to me. It seems likely that it will go on and still set another new all-time high. But if for some reason it didn't, and it started heading down there to those 53s, and especially if it took out the 53s, watch out Bitcoin. But all right, guys, that'll wrap it up for this one, giving you kind of a broader perspective look of what I'm seeing going on in the market. There was no video yesterday because prices just stayed exactly where they were from the day before. Here we are another day. They're still there waiting for some price action and some direction to get chosen in this market. But otherwise, we will work to get a video out tomorrow. As a reminder, next week is a holiday week here in the United States. It is the Thanksgiving week. I will still be putting videos out next week. It just will be more spotty because it is a holiday. There will be family that's in town, and it might not be as frequent next week. But I will still be here. And if anything crazy happens, you can bet that I will come on here and talk about it. But otherwise, we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. If you're looking for something to do, you can check out my website over here. This is bcbacker.com. And this is a course that I put together where I deep dive into the previous Bitcoin bull runs and the different alt seasons that have happened in this market, tying them together to show how they've worked in the past historically. I talk about my personal exit plans in here. I teach you how to set up your own charts and your own indicators within TradingView and CoinTrader Pro. I talk about mathematics and percentages and why those are so important to me. Just last week, I made 2 updates in here. I added the Ethereum exit plan part 4 final update, and I also added the blockchain backer exit plan part 4 progress update. This one's 20 minutes. This one's 10 minutes. You can check all of this out over here on bcbacker.com, where I do also have a market update. The most recent one there is October 31st, and all of this educational content is available to anybody enrolled over here at bcbacker.com. You can follow me over here on Twitter at bcbacker, and I want to thank you so much for watching my channel. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor, but if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.